Greetings, loyal Sound Advice, Hearing Friendly Business Podcast listeners. It's Teresa Barnes, RN. Today we're going to cover how to get ready for the holidays with using effective communication skills with addressing someone who has hearing loss to help them feel included, more confident, more loved, more listened to, and more hearing friendly, effective communication skills and tips to help you gain more sales during these challenging times, because we do need to keep our economy going and growing. What I'm about to teach you will definitely help increase your Yelp reviews. Just this morning, I switched from my healthcare plan that I currently had over to a new MD who I have yet to meet. But on his reviews on Yelp, which I read already, they say he really listens. We'll see whether he figures out whether I have a hearing loss as I go in. Normally, I tell people I have a hearing loss, and a lot of times I get empathy, a lot of times I get sympathy. I don't really need empathy or sympathy. What I need is compassion and understanding, as do most people that have hearing loss. I mean, if it's a new thing, then yeah, you do need to have a little bit more sympathy and empathy. But I've had it my entire life, and it has slowed me down somewhat, but not completely. So we'll see whether this doctor, to help me, to help my healthcare problems, if the few I have, can really take care of my listening skills as well. We'll see how that goes. But right now, I'm going to help you with some tips to help you speak to the hard of hearing. Yes, I don't really like that term, but that's still legally what we're called in the United States. And 1 in 5 Americans have mild to profound hearing loss. And that's a classification according to the World Health Organization of who has hearing loss. Mild to profound is a hard of hearing group. And then the deaf have no hearing, an absence of hearing at all. Some of them lip read so proficiently, and some of them speak so well because maybe they've done the John Tracy Clinic that they can keep up with most hearing well people. But for the ones that are hard of hearing, that's what we're going to cover today. So if you have someone who says, what, huh, or looks totally clueless as to what you've just said to them, then politely ask if they have a hearing loss. Then let them know that you'd like to try some new communication techniques that you heard about. You'd be amazed. They will, in all probability, be forever grateful. Of course, if you're in human resources, you can't really ask that. And sometimes in management, you can't always ask that because it is a disability. So you just have to be a little careful and know whether you can or whether you can't. I know in human resources, it's absolutely a no. So what I sometimes do is I go sideways, even though I'm conservative, and I simply tell them a story about somebody that I know that has hearing loss and let the other person say whether they do or whether they don't, or whether they know somebody that does or whether they don't. But it's just a way to help you run it by your manager first, but also the managers need training. And on hearing awareness courses online soon, Hearing Awareness Academy actually, I will be having some courses that will address managers on how to recognize those employees with hearing loss to help retain them, also to help them increase their productivity. But if a person is missing their vowels or their consonants, that's the A-E-I-O-U's and the TH's and the SH's, then they might have a hearing loss. In all probability, they have a hearing loss. And usually that means that a person has lost hearing in their childhood. And so here are 15 tips for speaking to the hard of hearing with an extra bonus. I love bonuses. I know you probably do too. So number 1, face the person with hearing loss directly when you speak. So face to face, speak directly to them. And I know we have the 6-foot rule. And I did have a man at Barnes and Noble, the bookstore. When I told him I was hard of hearing, he took off his mask, and we were way too close for him to do that. So I do have some transparent masks, and that's where the little part in here is clear, so you can still lip read. But try to get as close as you feel comfortable these days. Number 2, never speak from another room if you want an answer or if you want to interact with someone that has hearing loss. I have known several CEOs in the Carlsbad area where they have told their employees that they have a hearing loss, and yet for some reason the employees still decide that they want to talk from the other room. Well, you'll get a much better response with whatever you want if you come to that person and speak face to face with them or directly to them. And then speak naturally. We all learned how to speak by hearing our mothers speak or our fathers speak or other people in our family speak. So just speak naturally. So don't exaggerate your lips or yell at somebody, because the yelling does distort how the sound sounds. And it's hard enough for us to figure out what you said if you're just speaking naturally. And then if it's confusing to know whether it's a B, a D, a V, or an E, because all of those sounds sometimes will sound exactly alike. And we're on number 4 now. Speak at a 4-count rhythm. So for CPR, we do staying alive, doop, 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 staying alive, doop, 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 staying alive. And that is usually slow enough for someone with hearing loss to be able to keep up with what you're saying. Number 5, use hand signals to let the talker know if their volume is good. So give them the thumbs up, smile at them. If they're not talking loud enough, put your finger next to your ear and look at them with a question mark in your face, and then let them know they need to talk up. So you don't need to verbally say anything. You're just using a little bit of sign language, like point at your ear and then give them the thumbs up to let them know they need to increase their volume, because you don't want them yelling at you. So you can also use the thumb down to let them know they need to lower their volume as well. Same deal, point your finger to your ear and just point your thumb down. And so it's avoid long sentences. And it's just easier if you say a sentence, get one point through, then kind of take a couple of deep breaths. I usually count to 5 if I'm talking to someone with hearing loss. I count fairly quickly, but that's a thing to do. Avoid a sudden change of topic. And number 8 is make a point and then check to see if the other person understood before continuing. So you can even ask, did you understand what I said? Is there some other way that you'd like me to explain this to you? Are we on target? And then let them know, I really want you to understand this. So just be direct. I really want you to understand this. So let me know if I'm saying it in a way that maybe you don't understand. And then we're on number 9 now, get rid of the unnecessary background noise. It's best to have an area in your business with a hearing awareness symbol, for those of you that are looking at Zoom, and also it's an ear with a question mark. So how is your hearing? And that's really what it's saying, because the deaf symbol is an ear with a line through it, and it means it doesn't really include the hard of hearing. It's really for the deaf. And then this is something you can proudly wear, to let people see that you have a hearing loss. So the deaf are welcome to wear it as well. So it's an area that you want to have in your business that's around 72 decibels. If you are confused, then we can Zoom, and I can help you get your business set up where you attract the hard of hearing community, We are a $1 trillion missed market niche. We're now on number 10, so just 5 more to go. If you're in a group, encourage one person to speak at a time. Number 11 is people with hearing loss often interrupt, as we don't often hear what the speaker is saying. So if this happens in a conversation, let the other person know that you will let them know when you're finished. Or if we start to interrupt, then I've had people tell me, can you hold on for a second? And then I say, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. And then I tell them I have a hearing loss. I'm okay with saying that. Or I say I'm hearing impaired. Or you can also use your index finger to let them know, just 1 second, please. And so just very politely, 1 second, and let me finish what my thought is. And because some people don't have the ability, if they have a thought in their brain, to remember it later on. So number 12 is don't lower your voice or trail off at the end of your sentence. And if you know the trick of getting people to pay better attention by lowering your voice, yes, people will lean in and they'll lean forward if you lower your voice because they can't hear what you're saying. So that is a trick that all motivational speakers use, and it's just something TEDx as well. But if you're speaking to somebody with hearing loss, then try to keep your voice at one level. And then for those of you who have hearing loss, keep up with current events. So you are not out in, I'm going to say la la land somewhere. And so you know what's really going on. And then keep your hand away from your mouth when you're speaking. Avoid eating or chewing or smoking. I know I went out to lunch with someone last week, and it was a business meeting, but I was totally shocked to see food in this person's mouth as they were talking to me. But did I say anything? No, I just kind of grinned and bared it, but it was kind of shocking to say the least. And also for those of you who have facial hairs these days, because a lot of people do, and just go ahead and try to shave your mustache or your beard where your lips are easily visible, because we're normally lip reading. And so it will help us. Number one, it won't distract us if we're watching food bouncing up and down in your mouth, or if you're smoking a cigarette and blowing smoke in our face so we can't really see as well, but also because we are lip reading. So that's what we're doing. Number 14, use open-ended questions to discover if a person has a hearing loss. So rather than a yes or no answer, or an answer that can just be answered with a smile. And I know myself, when I don't wear my hearing aids, I have a hard time with children understanding what they're saying. And sometimes for the local kids in my neighborhood, I will just smile, even though I honestly have not understood what they've said. And then I let the mother know that I've got a hearing loss, or the father, whatever the case may be, so that if the child has said something really important to me, then they can follow up on that. But I always say something encouraging and positive so that this younger human or little human feels understood, so even though I sometimes don't actually understand them. So I do kind of fake it. I'm not really proud of that. But I do recommend that if you know you're going to be outside, that you do wear your hearing aid so you don't have to fake it. So, and also it's better for your ears. It keeps your nerves active. It keeps your brain, the part of your brain that translates the sound, it helps that stay active as well. And so believe it or not, we are on number 15. It's always best to rephrase rather than just repeat the same words or sentences. I've had some people say that it's best to repeat the same sentence 3 times. I happen to be an A-type personality, so I like things to be done quick. So it's really annoying to me. So it depends on if you've got somebody who's really slow, then you might want to repeat it at least twice. And then if they don't catch you by the second time, just move on and go into the rephrasing, because that'll give you a second or two to think about how you want to rephrase it. And then last but not least, we are to be patient. So this is not one of the 15 tips. It's just something that needs to be done. So be patient, because impatient only stresses the hard of hearing person even more and causes the blood vessels to constrict, which means it's even harder to hear. Kindness goes a long way. And who knows, perhaps one day you might need someone to use these tips with you. Um, because by 2050, according to the World Health Organization, 900 billion people will have hearing loss. Currently around the globe, it's 1.1 billion. And if you take the extrapolation of the Johns Hopkins Medical Study, where 20% of the US population, it's 65 million people that have some type of hearing loss, from mild to profound. So it's a lot of people out there, and some of them are struggling. So this would be a good way to help them out as we move forward with more progressive times and more positive times. And of course, those 15 tips will be in my show notes. I'm perfectly fine if you decide to print it out. Of course, if you'd like to subscribe to Sound Advice, a hearing friendly business podcast, that would be great. I would really appreciate that. And with a positive review would be even better, to help the show continue to go on. I also have 2 holiday gifts for you. The first is Sound Advice, Tune Into Listening, which is on Amazon. And I can give you a 20% discount on that if you like it. Just reach out to me at contact@heartheletterc.com. And I also have those a free mini course, Introduction for Hearing Awareness. And that will be going up within the next 2 weeks. I currently have the free mini test online, but I will be having a whole course on just this topic, hearing awareness. So you can reach out to me or go to Hear Communications and just put in your email and I'll send those to you. So stay well. I look forward to connecting with each one of you. Keep hearing with connections, communication, comprehension, and compliance. Yes, it is an ADA Amended Act 2008 that people with hearing loss have equal rights. And there's only 3.4 million people in wheelchairs, walkers, and canes. We are 65 million. So let's be proactive about this one rather than reactive. Signing off for now. And you know, you can always find me in airspace.